Okay, so the next topic we're going to go over is characteristics of linear relations. And some of the things that we're going to be talking about are intercepts and slopes. And we can see that I've written those down right here for us. Now, there are 4 different kinds of graphs that we could be looking at. We're going to call this one A. A is when we have a completely straight across horizontal line. Okay. In this situation, we only have one intercept. We have this part right here. Now, just to clarify, an intercept is any point where your graphed line, line crosses the X or Y axes. So in this situation, we have one Y intercept. Okay, we can also see this look like one X intercept. So in this point right here, we have one X intercept. Now, when a line is angled, so we might have something that looks like this, we have an intercept here and here. And so this is our Y-intercept, and this is our X-intercept. This is because this bottom line here is our X-intercept, and this top line here, or vertical line, is our Y-axis. So the place where our line that we've drawn here in purple crosses our Y-axis is our Y-intercept, and the place where our line that we've drawn in purple crosses our X-axis is our X-intercept. Now this could also look like this or like this. Any of these variations would have both an X and a Y-intercept. Those are intercepts. Now you can find a point on the graph that would be an intercept. For example, this Y-intercept right here would be a 0 X coordinate and a 1, 2, 3-ish Y coordinate. This X-intercept here would be a 0 Y coordinate and a 1, 2, 3X, so 3, 0. This X-intercept for this third line here would be 1, 2, let's say 2.5, but negative for the X and 0 for the Y. And this Y-intercept would be 0, 1, 2. We'll round up. So points on a graph for an intercept will always have a 0 coordinate for the variable that it is not. So when you have an X-intercept, your Y is going to be 0. When you have a Y-intercept, your X point on the graph is going to be 0. Now, when we're talking about slopes, we have 4 different kinds of slopes here. We have something called a positive slope, and a positive slope could be any variation that's going from bottom left to top right. So this right here is a positive slope. We also can have a negative slope, and it is going to be any line that is going from top left to bottom right. Negative slope. There are 2 other things, and we looked at them briefly above when we were talking about intercepts. Something that goes straight across has no slope, or a slope of 0. And something that goes straight up and down has an undefined slope. Now, let me show you why these things exist. So, let's look at an example here. Okay, let's use the points for this one here. Now, this one, I'm going to use the points -3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and -6, sorry. Now, this is going to be my X1 and then my Y1, and this is going to be my X2 and Y2. Sometimes I find it helpful to label my points so that I know when I'm putting them into my slope of a line equation, I am not going to mess that up, and I'm going to keep things very consistent. So my slope of a line is going to be equal to my y2, which is -6 minus 4, okay, over my x2, which is 5 minus -3. So don't forget to keep those negatives from our original numbers in our slope of a line equation. So -6 and -6 minus 4 is -10. And then 5 minus -3 is going to give us a +2. Now, when we go to simplify this, we're going to end up with being able to, 8. We're going to be able to simplify this by dividing both values by 2. So we're going to get -5 over 4 equals m. This is a negative slope, okay? Because it has that negative value there, it's a negative slope. Now let's pretend to plot these 2 points on a graph. So -3 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my first point. And my second point was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if I were to connect a line through these points, I'm going to end up with one slope that resembles my negative slope. And so that's why we end up with these things. Now, if I go to look at something like an undefined slope, what that's going to be is any number, undefined slope is any number divided by 0. And then if I wanted a slope of 0, this is 0 in the numerator of the fraction. So for example, this one could be 2 over 0. So the rise is 2 for every 0 spaces we move left or right. Now the slope of 0 would be a rise of 0, so there's no change up or down, over a run of whatever value we put there. All this means is that there is no change in height here, and there is no change in x or y, or x movement there. That's the difference between those two, and kind of how we're going to determine a positive and a negative slope. You can answer the following questions by finding 2 points, creating a table of values, viewing things from a graph like we have done in other videos. So if you have any questions, you can take a look at those ones.